Good evening. Welcome to the Wednesday, January 2nd, 2008 meeting of the Town of Orange Planning and Zoning Commission. Before we begin tonight's meeting, I'd like to point out the location of our emergency exits. The first one is to my right, your left, in the middle of the room where most of us enter and exit the building from on a regular basis. The other two are to my right, your left, in the hallway in the rear of the building. The first one immediately upon entering the hallway on the left-hand side. The other one in the hallway on the end of the hallway. I'd like to ask those seated at the table to please introduce themselves.
Tammy Costello, Administrative Assistant.
Rick Miangioni.
Paul Kaplan.
Ozzie Parenti.
Judy Smith-Morgan.
Paul Denise, Zoning Administrator and Enforcement Officer.
And I'm Walter Clark. The first item on tonight's agenda is the election of TPZ officers. This is directed under Section 7, specifically 7.1 in our bylaws.
I would like to make a motion to nominate Bo Clark to continue to be chairman of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
I'll second that.
We have a motion. It's been seconded. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you very much. The next would be the election of the vice chair. Is anybody prepared to make a motion?
I'll nominate Judy to be the vice chair.
I'll second that.
We have a motion. It's been seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes unanimously. The next item is the election of the secretary. Is anybody prepared to make a motion?
I'm gonna nominate Oz for secretary. That's what you were doing before, right?
Yes.
I'll second.
We have a motion. It's been seconded. Any further discussion? Signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Now that that's out of the way, that's the end of the partisan politics for 2 years at least. The next item on the agenda is old business. Just a reminder, we have that meeting that you have to notice because Judy and Paul are both going to be in attendance on the the Tuesday, the 8th. I think it's going to be at the Marriott at 8:30, so that has to be noticed as a meeting.
Actually, there are two meetings for that date because
That's right.
At night we're going to be conducting the interviews for the study, so we'll have a meeting posted for the morning session and one in the afternoon.
Okay, so we should be all set there.
5 to 7 next.
No, we increased that.
Yeah, there's going to be one interview conducted at 6 o'clock and one at 6:45.
Rick is having his dinner here and staying for the late night festivities. Anything else under old business? The next item on the agenda is new business. Does anybody have anything they'd like to bring up under new business? There being none, we'll move on to the report of the zoning enforcement officer.
Not really much to report over the holidays. We did keep up with some signs. It was somewhat difficult. There was a delay a few days. The Public Works Department was tied up. There were some other instances where we had to issue an infraction summons, and the Police Department was tied up. But all the signs seem to be resolved at this point, and many merchants are asking about when that meeting is going to occur, and I've been informing them of the January 8th meeting.
Yeah. Well, the January 8th meeting is kind of a separate meeting where we're kind of outlining where we are now, really, to the economic development people. But we'll eventually, I guess, have to decide if we're going to make any changes to our sign regulations, and that should come out of the meetings that we've had and the meetings that we're going to have here too. So, Paul, any news on the water testing at the Home Depot?
We did get a response from the owner, and it's my understanding they did conduct the water tests last week.
Okay.
And we should have that report shortly.
Great. Thank you very much.
I forgot who I spoke to there, but not only did I speak to him on the phone, but I also received an email confirming that they were conducting the test.
Good. Does anybody else have any questions or comments for Paul? There being none, we'll go down to item number 5, which is a review of the December 4th, 2007 meeting minutes. I had one comment. Under old business, in the second paragraph, And I'll read the paragraph. It says, Chairman Clark questioned zoning enforcement officer Paul Denise how the scheduling of the interviews with prospective consultants is going. ZEO Mr. Denise stated that he drafted a letter but has not sent it out yet. Those are really two separate, so we should break that up somehow. Yeah, the one question was the meeting with the interviews, and the second one was a letter that Paul had to prepare for Mr. Grimmer. So we should somehow separate those two issues. And other than that, I had no changes or comments on the minutes.
I move that the,
I didn't know if anybody else had any comments. Is anybody prepared to make a motion?
I'd like to move that the minutes for December 4th, 2007 be approved.
We have a motion.
Second.
It's been seconded. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda is a site plan application for an architectural standard supplement submitted by Chip's Restaurant for property known as 321 Boston Post Road. Would the applicant like to come forward, please?
Good evening.
My name is George, and I own Chips Restaurant with my sister, and we'd like to make some facelifting on the building on the 321 Boston Post Road. So we decided this year, with your blessing, of course, to go ahead and do it. My sister will explain to you what we have to do. Okay. So,
I will try my best to explain this. Our contractor unfortunately wasn't able to make it today. He is away in an emergency, so I'll try to explain my best.
I don't want to interrupt you, but we have a color rendering
Yes.
here, and I'll put it up on the board so that all the commission can see it.
Okay. Dina, D-I-N-A.
Okay.
Should I start? Do you want to
You
ask
can
me
go
any
right ahead.
questions? Okay.
If you want to just outline what you plan on doing, and
Sure.
then we'll-
I'm sure everybody knows what Chips looks like right now. So we would like it to make it look like this. What you're seeing here, the off-white part would be all stucco.
Okay.
We want to do double doors. Actually, two entrances, which would be one would be coming from here, which are double doors, and then there's another entrance which you cannot see by this picture on this side. So there'll be another set of double doors on that side, and here will just be a window, double windows, but no entrance.
So the door on the back side of that will serve that sidewalk?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
So they wouldn't have to come out into the parking lot then? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, the overhang here, the wall is now straight,
Mm-hmm.
but we are planning on changing that by making more slanted.
Okay.
So, and that would be all shingles. There will also be poles added here. Those are also, I believe.
they're still here.
Oh,
Here now. They're going to use the
they're
same
gonna
poles.
we're gonna use the same poles. I'm sorry, and dress them up with stucco
Okay.
to make it look nicer.
The posts would be stucco, but the brick on the building is going to remain brick, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
The brick on the building, yes, it remains brick,
Yes.
yes.
I had one question. When I look at the rendering, the existing building where it has this peak here,
Yes.
and on the rendering
It
here, it
doesn't
shows
go
it
up.
being brick all the way across.
Yes.
Yes.
Is this in fact brick behind
Yes,
this
yes,
peak?
it is
Okay.
brick, yes.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
So it's brick now. You just. Okay. Let's see what else.
And what currently is right here? Is that a drive-it or is it?
The inside, mean?
Well, yeah, that's, this little wall right here that I'm looking at, and in that peak. Do you know what the material is that's in there
I
now?
have no idea.
No.
Probably wood, it's
I
been
don't
built
know.
about 40 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yes, on that wall, on the peak, it doesn't.
On the new roof we're going to do, we're gonna make like, this is gonna be asphalt shingles, so
Okay, it's gonna be shingles.
Shingles.
Yeah, okay.
it's like,
Is the other, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Is the other side also going to be shingles, or that's going to be,
No,
that's going to
this-
be just a facade, right?
remains
Just
the
this
way it
side.
is,
This
yes.
remain the way it is for now, so.
The color, I know it's a color
Yeah.
rendering, but is the color going to be the same on the one side as it is on the other?
Yes.
Yes.
Great.
On your comments from your contractor, he says he's going to use a slab. You're not going to be able to use a slab to build that with doors, because the frost will heave and your doors are not going to open. Your swinging doors to get in?
The double door, you mean?
Yeah. Without a footing and foundation, your sidewalk moves up and down with frost.
Yeah. Well, we're going to do what we have to do,
Well, I'm just
yeah.
Okay,
to let you know, the
Yeah.
building department's probably going to say something about that.
okay,
It's a,
thank you.
maybe not a zoning issue, but a good comment. I think what Rick is trying to do is
Well, I
solve
just
your
don't want them
problem.
to build it on the slab, 'cause
Exactly.
usually you don't have.
We want to be able to get in.
Through the double
That would be a
doors.
good idea.
I mean, it might freeze, because
Yeah.
that's,
Okay.
it will go up.
Yeah. And
Okay.
even then, where it joins the existing building too is, subject to cracking and things like
Or
that
even the
too.
stucco, if the thing, if
That's
it's
what I
on
mean,
slab.
where,
it's-
it's just gonna move up and
gonna
down
be a mess.
separately. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm sure gonna go through the building inspector, so.
Oh, I'm just letting you know,
And
just in
they'll let
case.
us know.
Right.
Thank you.
You're proposing 2 signs.
2 signs, yes.
Yes.
Now, the signs have a separate review though, correct?
Yeah, they can, as a matter of fact, you have a pending application coming in.
Yeah,
You can put them all under one application.
okay.
Okay, we
Thank you.
can approve that.
Right, are you gonna put any kind of curb stop for the cars not to hit your?
Yes.
Is there-
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you could see right here.
It's an actual step-down curb?
No, he means like, for the cars that want to.
No, so it doesn't hit your new addition. I see the cars right in front of it.
Oh, no, yeah, right in here, you
The
mean?
curve is gonna be like,
Yes, there's-
we're going to put a curves over there too, on the other side. We do have on one side, when we finish building this thing, we're gonna put some curves on the other side of the parking lot too.
Okay. I think the important things for us to keep in mind is that, per our regulations, a substantial portion of the building will remain of one of the approved materials. I think it does dress up the building. But again, I don't think it's it's not a major thing. I think that, typically we sometimes get more accurate depictions, of the final outlook, but I don't think the scope of this project requires it.
What's being added there is in conformance with the regulation anyway, so
If it were standing by itself, it would not be. But when you combine it with the entire building, then yes, it certainly is, because a substantial portion will be of an approved material.
you subtract out of that the area consisting of windows and awnings
Correct.
and that kind of thing. So
Correct.
really, you're talking about, a substantial portion of the entryway there, that part of it.
Well, we don't separate the two. We don't separate the entryway from the, when we consider a substantial portion, we take the entire elevation that faces the street.
Yeah.
So, it's still going to be a substantial portion is going to remain brick. As a matter of fact, we're going to get a
Yeah.
slight increase in the brick.
It'll be more
because
visible now.
On the peak there, it's going to be more visible. And I think the shingled roof is a nice touch.
Well, the only thing I would say with a drive it, usually if it's down low like that, it gets pretty banged up.
Where are you talking about, Rick?
Anywhere on the bottom, usually the first 4 feet or 3 feet are brick and then you go drive it. So I don't know if you want to consider that when you.
You're talking about on the sides of the,
Do you understand what his comment is? Drive it really isn't it's not a structural material, it's really just a.
It's
you know,
all
a decorative
foam there with a
material.
little cement on it. That's what stucco is,
Yes.
right?
Right.
But I think usually the first 4 feet, everyone bangs into it, and it chips.
No, it's not going to be that.
It's not gonna be that close.
It's not going to be that close.
No, I'm saying people
Even
walking
people
into
can,
it.
Oh,
yeah.
people walking
It's,
in.
that's what I mean, from our perspective, it would meet our regulations, but I think
Right.
Rick is, again, trying to give you some advice. He's in the
No, I
construction.
understand.
You're very busy there. I mean, if you're gonna do a footing and foundation, to do 3 feet of brick to match your building is not a,
Oh, we can do that.
right. No, this is up to
Yeah.
you.
I think what he's saying
So
is
you're
that
saying
over
stucco
time,
is not strong
No.
enough to
You could-
last?
you could go up and-
The stucco is to dress it up.
Is dress it up.
If
That's
you-
like,
if you were
usually
looking-
it's higher.
Yeah.
yeah, if you were to go up and say kick the stucco, even somebody kicking it
Yeah.
accidentally, it's gonna crack it.
Okay.
And I think what Rick is saying is, if you came up even a couple feet with brick or something of that
Right.
nature.
Even
brick
to
would
match the top of your windows now.
Right.
It'll
right.
still look uniform and it'll look good, match the brick.
And it would hold up for a
It'll
longer
last
period of
longer.
time.
Longer period,
So
right,
it's just
I
something
understand.
that you might want to consider
Right.
from your point,
And then you still could do the same thing on top.
Right.
do the driving on top. But again, that's your decision. I think Rick
Right.
is,
No, thank you.
are there any other questions or comments from the commission? Any questions or comments from the public? Paul, do you have any insight? Is anybody prepared to make a motion?
I'll move that we approve the site plan application, architectural standard supplement submitted by Chip's Restaurant for the property known as 321 Boston Post Road.
We have a motion. Would anybody care to second it?
Second.
Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor of the approval signify by saying aye. Aye, unanimous. Thank you very much. and
Thank you.
You might want to take Rick's comments into, give it some thought. So. The next item on our agenda is a public hearing which begins at 8 o'clock, so we'll take a brief recess. It is now 8 o'clock. We'll come back into session. We'll ask Commissioner Parenti to read the public notice.
Okay, notice is hereby given that on Wednesday, January 2nd, 2008, at 8 p.m. at the Orange Town Hall, 617 Orange Center Road, the Orange Town Plan and Zoning Commission will conduct a public hearing on the following. Special permit application for special exception permit or use drive-through service window, submitted by property owner Central Post Associates LLC, the property known as 377 Boston Post Road. The proposal is to construct drive-through service window to service the Dunkin' Donuts. A copy of this notice has been filed with the Orange Town Clerk, dated in Orange, Connecticut, this 13th day of December, 2007.
Public hearing is now open. Would the applicant like to come forward, please? How you doing?
Good evening. I'm Mike Riccitelli, Colonial Properties, 200 Boston Post Road, representing the owner of the property, Central Post Associates. Would you like me to put the exhibits up here?
If you have them, please, yeah.
Okay. The subject property, 377 Boston Post Road, is approximately a 9,400 square foot building. The space that we have available is 2,850 square feet. The site is fully approved, along with 99 Restaurant, which is the co-tenant. It's been up and running for about 5 years. The space that we have available, the 2,850 square feet, which is on the left side of the building here if you're on the Post Road, was previously a retail use, and last year we had a fast food user apply for a drive-through here, which was approved by this commission last spring. Subsequently, that tenant did not end up taking possession of the space, and simply we'd like to replace that tenant with another tenant. which is Dunkin' Donuts.
When we approved Stake Street, or whatever it was called last time, the traffic pattern was different, wasn't it?
Slightly, yes.
It came from the first row of traffic?
Well, originally it did, but then didn't we have them
We asked them
rerouted to
move
the
it.
back?
We asked them to
Okay,
move it around, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've made a few changes in accordance with what the commission has requested in our meetings with Paul Denise, the zoning enforcement officer, which I can address at this point. We've put in some directional signage right here at the entry to the property, which is directing the drive-through traffic to the back of the property. And then we've got another directional sign over here. And then at the end of the drive-through lane, we've got a caution sign here, at which point the traffic would either disperse this way, which this is open to the adjoining property, which is currently the Bear and Grill restaurant, or it would go back out here, where we have a right and a left-hand turn lane. The other significant change that we made to the plan is we've labeled the rear strip of parking as employee parking. And the tenant plans on having his employees park back there to eliminate any potential conflict with the drive-through traffic. That was another suggestion that was implemented. And again, we have rerouted the traffic this way. We ended up losing a couple parking spaces here, but we added them here to maintain 105 spaces, which we had previously.
Mike, I have a question. I think on the first go-round, Rick had requested more than just a sign at the end of the walkway there, so somebody couldn't step out into traffic.
Over here.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Right, we have that.
Okay.
Also, where the transformer pad, I mean, I can't tell by the plans, I wanted to make sure you had some bollards to protect it.
Yeah, they're there.
Okay, I just don't see it there, I just see a curb.
Those are existing.
Now that roadway where the drive-through window will be, that's not existing currently, correct? Is that open?
Right here?
No, on the side of the building.
Over here?
Well, in between the two. Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. The drive-through lane itself?
Yes.
No, it's not.
Okay.
That's the only, significant construction that's going to be done. The footprint of the building will remain the same, but this area right here needs to be cleared and paved.
So with that, I'm not sure if there's an elevation problem there.
Is there an elevation difference from the neighborhood?
I don't believe so, not a significant one.
No, the only issue that did come up the last time that was going to be constructed was the installation of the spouts and from the roof drain. One of them, I think, one or two had to be moved, and there was an approved plan that Scott
Well, that was my
Allen
next
approved.
question. Has the town engineer reviewed the drainage, or has Scott reviewed the drainage? There's obviously going to be more runoff when you have that little strip of asphalt there.
Scott did on the last plan, and everything that he requested would still hold.
Okay. So I guess that if we approve this, we need to get at least Scott to, even though it's the same thing we looked at before, we have to get Scott to sign off on the new plan, I'll call it. Even though the new plan is the same as the old plan.
Scott's only comments were that the downspouts would be
Okay.
would be taken care of, similar to the last application.
Okay.
I think there's a Mike, I think there's a downspout that discharges water, and if it were to stay, it would discharge the water right into the access lane on the side of the building, and there was a plan that was worked out to relocate one of those downspouts.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other significant difference between this user and the prior user that was approved is, of course, that Dunkin' Donuts needs the ability to stack more cars as per state requirement. So what we've done here is we've shown the ability to stack 14 cars, which is the state requirement. I think with the prior user, we were just showing maybe 5 or 6 cars. But as you can see, still being able to stack 14 cars, we're well within the boundaries of the property, and could probably stack upwards of 25 or 30 cars on the property.
Now, Mike, you said that's a state requirement?
As far as I know, or maybe it's a state guideline.
Okay.
Typically, they want 14 car stacking capacity. In talking to the tenant himself, he says that from a practical standpoint, he never really stacks more than 5 or 6 cars, and if he did, people wouldn't wait in line anyway.
But that's what I was going to say. I mean, if you saw that long line, you're walking in or
Right.
going somewhere else.
Mike, the parking spaces which are designated for employees, is that just the Dunkin' Donuts employees, or will that be the 99?
We would probably have both tenants use that as employee parking. The nice thing about this tenant, in that even with the Steak Street had roughly the same type of hours as the 99 restaurant. With Dunkin' Donuts, although he'll be open, he does 60 to 65% of his business between 7 and 10 a.m. So we feel it's really an ideal use to complement it. And the bottom line is, you know, Dunkin' Donuts may have some employees parking there. 99's employees, by the time they get there, you know, really there won't be an issue with stacking, because we probably won't stack past here, you know, past 10 o'clock in the morning.
Did we, Paul, on the prior approval, I note that the exit of this building now has going left and going right coming out. The post road being what it is, the traffic didn't have any problem making that left turn?
Well, I think it's an advantage that they can go either right or left.
Oh, I think it's great.
And I think when the last applicant came in, it wasn't part of the application, but I think I informed the commission that I had gone out there to make an inspection just prior to the meeting, and that interconnection was made without really notifying the zoning office. But upon examination of it, it turned out to be a much more desirable.
I'm not making myself clear. I'm sorry. I mean, upon the exit from the building onto the post road.
Okay.
It looks like from the plan that they can either go right with
That's correct.
traffic, or they have to cross traffic and make the left.
That's correct.
And that part has been approved by the traffic commission?
Yes, it has.
Yeah, we went to the Traffic Commission, and obviously they approved the plan. We did talk about that. They mentioned that, and one thing that was noted on this property is if you're on this side of the post road, because of the slope of the roadway, if you're trying to take a left coming from this side of the property, you can see the traffic a lot better because the road is sloped downward. If you're across the street coming out of the Kinko's Plaza, for instance, it's much more difficult to take a left-hand turn.
Paul, I did not review the parking requirements. Have you had a chance to review
They
them?
are far in excess of the
Okay.
required amount.
Okay.
You also might want to stick a bollard next to the furthest gate at a dumpster, because the way you zigzag in it, right where the dumpster is,
Over here?
right, because if they hit it, they're going to be coming around the corner, and it's not a good spot for a dumpster anyways, but.
What sort of screening do you have proposed for the dumpster?
Right now, if you drive back here where the transformer is, we've got, I forget what they're called, but there's some bushes there that screen the transformer completely. You know, we can use that type of screening, or, you know, I would assume it would be fenced in. As the dumpster that's over here for the Beer and Grill has a fence surrounding it, which...
This appears, at least on the plan, at least it seems to show that there's a fence of some kind there. You can see there's two lines and a swinging gate.
For
Yeah,
the
for the dumpster, there is a fence enclosure, I could see it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be slotted. You got to put a PVC slotted fence, right? Or
Yeah,
something.
we were planning on putting a fence on the front portion.
Well, you see the dotted lines going on either side of it also, and to the back. Right?
Talking about along the back side of the property here?
No, it looks like it's
No.
fully enclosed.
It's
is what
fully
you're saying.
enclosed, right?
Oh,
You can
right.
see the lines all the way around. If you look at the gates and just follow it,
You see what he's saying?
Yes,
Oh, is
okay,
that
I see
yours,
what you're
Mike?
saying, yeah.
you know, the fence covers
Yeah.
everything, yeah.
Whatever he's showing, whatever the engineer showed, there's obviously...
But I think what Rick is asking, is it's not going to be just a fence, it's going to be some kind of a screened fence as well.
Yes, the
Okay.
fencing that typically surrounds the dumpster, I think they use like a green mesh.
You could pick any color, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's slots that go in the chain link
between
fence.
the chain
Right,
link fence.
it doesn't matter what color it is.
Right.
Now, has the fire marshal had a chance, did they review it? And we do have the sign off? Do we have all the requirements signed off?
Yes.
Well, we had spoken earlier, and there is there a right-of-way, or what is it that connects to the ball fields here that,
There's an agreement between the town of Orange and the property owner with regard to the possibility of a future interconnect to the recreation field.
do you know where approximately that future interconnect might be?
It's not really specified. It's sort of more conceptual in nature.
It's for this property?
Yes.
Well, it's on this property, but it was envisioned to be an emergency access from the ball fields. Or at least a
It may or
possibility.
may not be an emergency access. It may be a viable and usable access for
Okay.
individuals using the rec field.
Are they gonna install a Dunkin' Donuts drive-through window here?
Yes,
You're gonna need to put a bollard in front of it,
in front of the window.
because Dunkin' Donuts windows stick out 1 foot past the building. I don't know if you knew, they have glass so they can see the cars coming down.
Yeah. I'd have
Right?
to-
Is that correct? Yep. So you're gonna need a bollard in front of it, because these guys gotta, and then also, do you know how many feet? Is that 12?
Is that what he's showing here, though?
It's not what it's shown, but it's just
No.
been acknowledged.
But see, on
No,
the,
not the window, the bollards you're talking about, are they not?
no, see, those aren't the bollards I'm talking about. See, they don't show you the drive-through window with, on Dunkin' Donuts, they wanna see the cars coming.
The bollards they show are at the order point.
Yeah, but see, I was talking about the bollards around the transformer, which is further up. That's a electrical pad, which Paul says they're there, I just don't see it on the plan.
The window is where this last,
Yeah, where the arrow,
Yeah.
is, yeah.
But what you're saying is that all Dunkin' Donuts have a window that is,
Goes past
okay,
the
it's
building.
not flush, it goes up.
They like to see the cars coming. So I just don't want a car coming down
Yeah.
and taking the window out.
Is that accurate, Frank?
Sir, I'm sorry, we have to have this.
Okay.
Please, yeah.
Come on up, Frank.
Frank DeAndrea.
Good evening. Frank DeAndrew, franchisee for Dunkin' Brands. Okay, the question as to the drive-through window. It's somewhere around 8 to maybe a foot. That doesn't go all the way down, but it's probably about 2.5 to 3 feet above the ground, and it does come out about 6 to 8 inches, and continually go straight and then back to the building. Normally we have a ballard. It's usually, I believe, one which would be about 8 inches, are correct, is in the front of it. We also have a ballard to the left of it if you're inside the building, protecting that. The window itself is not extremely large. Matter of fact, if we can go to the okay, this actually, yeah, I don't know if you can see that. This shows the window. Okay, I don't really see usually has the size of the window. These are the two doors that swing open, and like I said, it's about a 6-8 inch from the building. This is on an angle about 45 coming up, so it would be protected by a ballard in front as well as a ballard beyond it also. And that's the window.
Should we require a plan showing, like, you know, we talked about the transformer bollards, but they are not shown on the plan. And it was part of the other.
Transformer, they were verified, they were there. Well, I remember asking.
I had
I remember we asked
talked,
the question, but I can't remember the outcome. I know
I
there
had
was-
talked to the fire marshal about that, and I can't recall if he's requiring them or that the ballots are already in place.
Right.
Well, I just don't want, because now it's gonna be a lot.
I believe they are in place,
Right,
however.
Right, because somebody hits that, you got problems.
to say the least.
Right, and then the glass, I mean, that's a natural thing to put a, you don't
Absolutely.
want somebody coming in with a mirror and
Yeah.
taking your,
But I guess what I'm asking is, I agree with what you're saying, but I think we should have them on the plan. Now, whether we want to make that a condition of approval
those
or,
plans aren't submitted with this, or no?
well, that plan doesn't show the bollard either, though.
No, it
Just
doesn't.
shows the window.
Just
It
shows
just
the
shows the
window.
window.
I think we just make it a condition.
Okay. If we go that route. Are you
Is there,
comfortable?
there's no concern about there being, sufficient width there, once you have, there's plenty of room there, right?
Mr. DeAndrew, how much feet, I'm sorry, I can't see the scale, but how much feet is the width in that driveway?
You're talking about?
Yes, yeah.
Do you know what it is?
I would have to say it's about 15 feet,
Yeah, I would say that.
roughly.
What's the anticipated trips per day or visits per day to the entire restaurant, not just the,
about 400 to 500, what we're anticipating. Actually, this is somewhat low because of having a store in close proximity. That store is remaining open. I have a current lease there, so it's not like that's closing tomorrow or within the next 2 years. So I am operating both. I am the franchisee of both stores, so therefore I will operate them. So basically, you have to assume that there will be an increase as far as at the drive-through to accomplish what I want to, but on the same token, not everyone is going to leave my current location and say, well, we're never going to go there again. Obviously, if that was the case, I would not be doing this. So if anything, I'd say 400 to 500, not more than. I'd really be surprised to do more than that, especially under the current conditions of having two stores within half a mile of each other.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. You're talking about the one on the Boston Post Road, right near Orange Old Tavern.
290, exactly, 297 Boston Post Road.
The reason I bring that up is, number one, a concern about the queuing, but also in our regulation, it's number 383-117I. Prior to that, under 383-117G1, this would require a traffic report because it's over 200 trips per day. Under 383-117I, the commission may waive that requirement for the traffic report. So I guess my first question is, does the commission feel that it's necessary to have a traffic report for this application?
It's a morning business, and I think the Bush Road is pretty calm in the morning.
Yeah.
And 99 is not until nighttime.
Yeah. I wasn't particularly concerned with it, but it is something for housekeeping that we have to do, and in order to waive that, we have to have the applicant submit a written request that we waive the traffic report. You could maybe write something down real quick now.
Okay.
Because if it's not a concern, but it just, as far as a housekeeping thing, it has to be a written request by the applicant, then the commission, it does say a written request.
It makes a lot of sense to waive it in this particular situation. You have people that are on the Post Road to begin with. These are not people who are coming from other areas.
Exactly. I don't think it's going to be a traffic issue, but it's just that, we have to abide by
Follow
our
the regulations.
So I think the applicant's submitting a written request as we speak. So anticipating that request coming in, does the commission want to, can we vote on this during the public hearing, vote on the waiver application?
I think you should close the public hearing.
Okay,
and-
okay.
And then you can vote on that issue.
On the waiver issue as well, so.
Paul, was there anything else? We looked at this before. Was there anything else that we covered then that we haven't covered here?
No, everything's there.
I think the only real issue is that I think we all realize that the Dunkin' Donuts is going to have more traffic than the Steak Street.
But the queuing line is different, and I think the number of cars in it will be greater.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
couldn't imagine 14.
No, I think that's, although they show that the queuing for 14, realistically, and maybe I'm just impatient, but if I pulled up and saw 14 cars lined up, either I'm going somewhere else for a cup of coffee or I'm going to walk in, but I'm not going to wait in that line for a coffee and a donut.
Plus, the queuing here is in the best part, I think it's the best possible configuration, really away from just about everything else on the lot.
And also given the fact that the peak times, what do you say, 60 to 65% are between 7 and 10 a.m., where
Very
the existing
complimentary
restaurant
to
is
the
going to
other
be
use.
empty, with maybe some cook staff in there at that point, but the two blend nicely, I think.
Now, with regard to the right-of-way to the town and the rear of the property, is there any designation we need to make as part of our approval? Should we go that way, that if the town in the future requires it, they're going to lose a few spots back there?
They can afford to lose the spots and still meet our regulations. There's no question about that.
And the agreement is on the land record already?
My understanding, I don't know if it's on the land record, it's my understanding just that there is an agreement. I talked to the first selectman in his office about it today.
Okay. Mike, any comment on the agreement, or?
I wasn't intimately familiar with it. I remember when it was discussed. I would assume that the most logical place would be over in this corner, due to the traffic pattern and any, potential conflict. However, I'm not that familiar with the ball fields, but I almost want to say that this is a field right here, and that this is part of the outfield fence. I don't know if you could make the connection, you know, due to the way
May
the field.
never happen, but I just don't know, as
Yeah.
part of
I
this
think-
public hearing, what do we want on the record with regard to that right-of-way, so that the town's interests are
I
protected?
think that's what Judy's looking for, an acknowledgement of the right-of-way being in existence. Is
We don't
Yeah.
need the exact spot, but
Yeah, I do recall that that was agreed to.
So we can make that a condition of approval then, or
Can always be re-examined and
re-examine? Okay.
Oh, what's the condition? I'm not sure I understand.
Yeah,
What-
I don't think
what-
we,
it's made mostly that there's an acknowledgement
It's been
that
acknowledged.
it's
Just make it
it's
on
a
the record,
possible,
I
there is a
guess.
possible interconnection in the future, and at
there's
that
a-
point, the matter would have to
acknowledged
return to
right-of-way.
the commission for its review.
I would say the possibility is that the drive-through be pushed up towards the building, and the existing employee parking lots become right here, if that happens. And then the drive-through moves up that way too.
I don't know.
I don't understand how that's relevant to what we're doing here.
Well, it's just a question, really, because it's, usually when we do these, even if we do the interconnections at a time of a site plan review, is when we establish the right-of-ways for the interconnections. It's our opportunity to get that into the land records.
So they make a road right here to get in. It's not a good spot for a drive-through or the employee parking lot. You're gonna lose them all.
I don't think it's going to be lost. I think it would probably,
You lose at least
the field,
4 of them.
with the exception of where the field is located, that interconnection is probably going to happen in the northerly corner of the site.
14.
near car number 14.
But, you know, from a zoning standpoint, I mean, we're not identifying any particular issues with what they propose.
Just the
right?
concept
But-
Just that-
but-
of the right-of-way.
But he may at some point in time run into some issue if he's doing something that's going to run contrary to the rights that he's conveyed in this easement,
True.
which is his problem later on.
Yes. Yeah, it's just,
And I'm just not sure what it has to do with the relief he's asking for from this commission at this point.
well, it's because this is the opportunity that the commission uses to, for instance, if this interconnection did not exist, the one down in front with the Bar and Grill, this would be our time to tell them, look, we would like an interconnection between these two lots, and, you know, and get that on the land records. Apparently, this is on the land records, and we're just trying to confirm that it is on the
I
record.
think that's an important distinction, because if it exists now, then it exists and it's part of it, and that's the end of it.
Right.
If it doesn't exist, now's the time to get it on the record. If you wanted to short-circuit it, we maybe can get them to acknowledge now that there is a right-of-way that they will grant that will be on the northern part, parcel of this property.
I think that's more of an agreement between the Board of Selectmen and the property owner. I think what we want to do is have the capability to review it once it's been located, and knowing what that traffic is going to be at that future date.
If they have their approval from us already, I mean, meaning if we go forward tonight, and there is when it becomes time to get this interconnection done, let's assume that comes to pass, and there's a dispute between owners as to where to locate this thing, assuming that it's not yet located, why would they even consider it? Why wouldn't they just say, listen, we're not going to do it? If it's not already on the land records.
Yeah, I understand your point, but I guess what I'm saying is there has not been a site-specific location for this easement as of yet.
And to that end, shouldn't we get their, I'm asking, I'm not telling.
And so what I'm saying is, I think the commission should have the capability to again take a look at what transpires with the nature of this interconnection. It can be only for emergency services, it may be for through traffic.
No, I know
And
what I'm
how it
saying.
impacts the traffic on the site.
I think we're kind of
get
talking
it?
about two different issues here, too.
What I'm missing, I know exactly what I'm missing. There's apparently a working agreement or a signed agreement between the town through the Board of Selectmen and...
That's correct.
Okay, I didn't realize that, okay.
And what Paul is talking about is that we also want to have the opportunity to come in and say, even if the town Board of Selectmen approves it, say, in this corner...
Under an 824, it's a
Yeah,
municipal
824
improvement, we would get it
come
anyway.
So we get it in.
Just concerned if they hadn't had that agreement with the Board of Selectmen yet, why would an owner be, why would
It's
they
my
do it?
understanding that there's already an agreement in place, or at the very least, if there isn't, the Board of Selectmen isn't asking us to take a look at that and make that a part of our proceedings.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the commission? There being nobody in the public, I guess there's no questions from the public. Do we want to close the public hearing at this time?
Your written request.
Yeah, that's right. I'm trying to speed things along because I know Rick has a commitment and he has to leave shortly, so okay.
What is the section in the regulations regarding the interconnections?
Regarding adjacent property owner interconnections, what that says is that where the commission deems it appropriate, the interconnections can be required. In this case, however, we have 2 interconnections with the adjacent property owner, so I don't think that's an issue.
Well, not with the town of Orange, though. There's no interconnection with the town of Orange.
Yes, that is an interconnection of a different nature that is not covered under our regulations, however.
Okay. We have a written request to waive the traffic report. It's been submitted for the record during the public hearing. Is there any other information that the commission may request? At this time, do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of closing the public hearing signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Public hearing is closed at 8:29. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Does the commission wish to take an action on this application at this time?
I'll make a motion. Make a motion to approve the special permit application for the special accession permit or use drive-through service window submitted by property owner Central Post Associates LLC for property known as 377 Boston Post Road. The proposal is to construct a drive-through service window to service a Dunkin' Donuts. And I also going to include, make sure there's bollards at the transformer, 1 bollard at the dumpster where the cars are going towards it. The drive-through window should have a bollard on either side per the owner's request. Removal of the downspouts on the drive-through side. And
is that removal or relocation?
or relocation.
Why don't we say location of downspouts in accordance with Scott Allen?
That's fine. And privacy slots on the dumpster enclosure.
You want those to go all the way around?
Yeah, I assume the dumpster enclosure goes all the way around, according to the plan.
Do we want to vote on, sorry, the motion to waive the traffic requirement for a traffic report first? So,
No, you need a motion for that.
I think we should, so we need a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to waive the requirement for the traffic study.
Second.
Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor of waiving the traffic report? Aye, that passes unanimously. We have Rick's motion that he's expressed already.
Can you repeat that, please?
I have it written down.
So yes, he can.
You're ready to repeat it, huh?
I'll second it.
Is there any further discussion? Paul, we've covered everything that you've concerned. Okay. No further discussion. All those in favor? Now, this is also the site plan review, or do we have to do that on a separate vote?
That is the site plan.
Okay. Okay. We have a motion. It's been seconded. All those in favor of the application signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes unanimously. Welcome to the town of Orange. At this time, we'll look for a motion to adjourn.
It's me. Yep, I'll move to adjourn.
Your motion?
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Meeting adjourned at 8:31.